Welcome back. It's still one in Russian Metro Television, and this one, like Desmond stated earlier on, we'll be talking about migraines, and we have Dr. Sharif OKYERE, who is from Amin Scientific Medical and Alternative Medical Hospital. Yes, I hope. No, Amin Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. I got it right. Doc, how are you? I always want to get it. I want to get it, even if I don't get out.
You know,
yes.
we're used to the Amin Scientific Herbal
Hospital, yes. But right now it's Amin Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, that's a mouthful. But then,
and you've been doing well. Always, I think you get.
Oh, thank you very, very much.
We,
it's a collective. Together we do it. Okay, so we are talking about migraines, and migraines are bad than headaches. Or am I the only one?
Yes.
And funny enough,
well, no. When I saw the topic, right, for me it was very, because I don't think I have
ever experienced a migraine. Wow.
I barely get headaches.
Okay.
So, but you get lots of people saying me half by me like the whole time. But
wow. Then you are blessed.
I cannot relate.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe he has experienced it, but maybe he might think it's a normal headache.
Yes.
So after the conversation, you know if it's like a normal headache or a migraine. Yeah. So Doc, let's start the conversation by understanding what exactly migraine is and the difference between a migraine and a headache.
Yes. So thanks so much for the opportunity, and welcome the viewers to the show. I think it's a very important topic, and it's one of the most common conditions that affects a lot of people. The difference is migraine is actually a neurological defect. You understand? That has to do with disturbances within the brain. Usually, you look at the brain stem and the trigeminal nerves, and also a disturbance within the serotonin, which is supposed to regulate pain in our body. So migraine is actually a nerve issue, or we say a neurological defect, which happens when there's a problem within the brain stem and the trigeminal nerve, and also some hormones like the serotonin, which is supposed to regulate pain in the system.
Okay. So
that is the difference between headache
and a
migraine.
Wow.
And a migraine is characterized by a severe, very severe throbbing pain. You understand? Very severe throbbing and pulsating pain. So you see people complaining of having very throbbing, very severe, as if someone is
hammering the head.
You get it. It's very throbbing, and at times it's very pulsating, like as if there's something breathing out from and it's very, very severe. So that is the difference between
the
headache
and a migraine. Okay, so when someone take excess alcohol, after the intake of the excess alcohol, what do they experience? Is it a headache or a migraine?
Yes. So when you look at some of the triggers of migraine, alcohol is one of them. One of the triggers. So alcohol can actually triggers migraine, because alcohol have effects within the nerves and the brain. So the fact that alcohol have effects on the nerves or the brain, it could trigger it.
This is a last follow-up question before this one comes in. Since it's happening in the brain, does it damage the brain?
It's you see, migraine, just as we mentioned, a very severe condition, and it could affect a whole lot of activities that goes on within the brain. Because there's a mechanism that needs to be followed within the brain. Just as I mentioned, the brain stem, which has its purpose within the brain, the trigeminal nerve within the brain, and some hormones like the serotonin. So if there's a disturbances within some of these things, of course, it could cause some deficiency or some defect within the brain. But usually, if they are rectified, you understand, it could prevent, further damage within the brain. Yes.
You've talked about how severe or hard the headaches when you have migraine. Let's talk about the triggers. You've talked about alcohol, but how do I know that this is migraine and maybe it's because of this and this, that is why I have it? Is it a condition that starts, you know, way back when you are young, or it comes in later, that something happened to you before you get migraine? Take us through that.
Okay, so what actually happens is, especially when you look at the triggers, so we mentioned what do you call it? Alcohol. There are situations like hormones, especially with women. Okay. We realize, and you know, migraine is actually common in women more than men. And it has to do.
And I don't understand why.
And it has to do with some hormones, especially with their estrogen imbalances within the estrogen in the system, which will go a long way to trigger some of these things. So that is one. One of the things is stress. Okay. Yes. So stress is one of the major causes of what do you call it?
A migraine.
A migraine. Okay. You understand? And then also our eating habit, because there are certain foods that could even trigger, you know, a migraine to come, and even our lifestyle, you know, because so we advise some of the measures that we give, you know, when you are managing, you know, what do you call it, migraine, is that you have to make sure not to skip meals, because the moment you are skipping meals and all those things, it could trigger a migraine to happen. And then this is weird, but when you are physically strained, when you exert more energy than you're supposed to. So, for example, you're exercising and you exercise beyond your limit. It could trigger, you know, migraine to happen. And apart from you know these triggers that we are talking about, that is why it is very, very important that when you're managing migraine, there's something that you should always try to do is, first of all, try to manage your stress. Very, very important. Any form of stress, whether from home, from work, it could be any form of stress. You need to manage it so well, because if you don't do that, it could worsen your situation. You need to also exercise, because exercise also helps. In as much as we are saying don't overdo it, we encourage you to exercise, because it's also very, very important. You need to also make sure you eat a very healthy diet. You understand? Yes, eating healthy meals could also go a long way to help with stress. And you need to take note of how your stress, you know, comes about. How it comes about. It is very, very, you need to pen everything down, because it is going to go a long way to help you. Because just as we're talking about some of the triggers, some people, when they're exposed to light, you understand, exposure to some high intensity of light and all those things could trigger their migraine to start. So you need to put all these details down, because when you look at the symptoms, how migraines occur, it is being categorized into, we have the prodrome, we have the aura, we have the attack, and the postdrome. You understand? So usually the prodrome is, you know, when you are there and a sign, it's a mood swing, you know, your mood changes, and you are not yourself, you don't, you know, actually feel yourself, and then also you tend to crave for a lot of things, you know, you are craving for a lot of things. It could be some of the prodrome symptoms, maybe constipation and all those things. These are some of the prodrome symptoms that comes as a result of a migraine. And then when you look at the aura, you know, the aura is when you are there and you are yawning a lot. You know, you start seeing some flashes of lights on your eye. At times, it could even affect the way you see things. You understand? These are some of the aura, the period that you go in before the attack comes. And then when the attack comes, that's when you start having the severe pain. You know, the throbbing pain. At times, that's one part of. And there are some people who have migraine, and it affects both sides of the head. That's very true, especially when you are sleeping. And someone wakes you up unexpectedly, because
when you're about to sleep, within the next 20-30 minutes, the brain is now going to
you understand. So that's, and then usually when after you go through the episode of these attacks, you feel dejected, as if you're not yourself. You don't even want to talk. You want to, be yourself, and so
in your corner.
You understand. So that is what actually happens, and it's so when you go through that process, it actually affects your entire life. It actually affects your entire life, what you do, because at a point you don't even want to talk.
Yeah.
And if someone is making a little noise, it's, because of the pain that you're going through, you don't want to even hear any sort of sound.
True.
Or any sort of disturbance, not to even talk of talking. So it is something that is so bad to the extent that it actually affects your lives as its entirety.
Wow.
Should all migraines be, when you have migraines,
Yes.
should you take painkillers to kill your migraine, or you should just sleep it off?
I think what we've realized over the years is painkillers actually don't really work well for migraines.
Okay.
You understand? So you see people, they start from one level of a painkiller. At some point, it doesn't work for them. They have to
Going for
increase.
another one.
Then they will be increasing some of these painkillers to the level where none is even working for them. So when it comes to migraine, there are actually measures that you need to follow to make sure you get rid of it once and for all. So for example, when you come to Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital, for example, there are certain protocols that we follow, and we have been very, very successful when it comes to migraine, because just as I mentioned, migraine, although it comes with pain, and pain is not good, you need to make sure you manage the pain. But this pain is not the usual pain that you take painkiller and it goes. Because it's coming from the nerves, you need to actually tackle the condition from the root cause.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you are able to do that, you will be able to reverse this situation and also advise the people about some of these triggers and the things that could predispose them in getting some of these things. And if they do stay away from some of these things, they can go for a whole year without having any episode of these situations.
Okay.
My friend just said we have natural migraines. That's when a woman is going through their monthly menstruation, because it happens, the pain and everything, and she's categorizing that as a natural migraine.
So what I'm saying is, if the kind of pain that you're going through affects your daily activities, then it's not normal.
Okay.
And usually, just as I mentioned earlier, the hormonal changes that happen during their menses could trigger some of these discomfort. But if it's unbearable, if it becomes very unbearable, then you need to make sure you seek for treatment.
Okay, so you need to seek treatment for that migraine. I can only imagine.
Yes,
like I said earlier, I really, maybe a headache, slight one, but for migraine, boom, I may not have experienced that, but I feel for people who go through that. So all you need to do is to get to Amen Scientific and get it sorted. So doctor is going to take us through when you come there, what you do in just a minute, and then we talk about where you can find Amen.
Yes, so if you are experiencing these sort of symptoms or you've been diagnosed of having a migraine, what I will ask you to do is just come to Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. That is what makes us unique, because when you come to Amen, we not only do the herbal medicine, we do alternative medicine. Okay. So when the condition comes, if plan A doesn't work, there's plan B. If plan B doesn't work, there's plan C.
Okay.
Because we do herbal medicine, we do homeopathic medicine, we do naturopathic medicine, we do reflexology. So all these things, that is why any condition at all doesn't skip Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical. So no matter how long you've been suffering from, no matter the level of medication, the kind of medication that you've been going through, and you're not seeing any results, I entreat you to come to Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical.
All right, so do well. The numbers on your screen, just call them, or you can go to their branches. There's one at Dome, and there's also one at Klagong, and the rest of the country, across the country, just get in Army Scientific, you find wherever that they are. So, Dr. Sharif, thank you so much for coming in this morning, and please go and sort it out.